The highly successful Trench Crusade Kickstarter campaign appears to be having a lot of trouble actually delivering the products that people have already paid for, as the comment section on their Kickstarter page is absolutely buried beneath a mass deluge of complaints going back half a year, with people complaining that they either haven't received their models at all, wondering if they've been forgotten or otherwise overlooked, or if they are getting their models, they are getting them broken, warped, or damaged, or simply just missing models out of the pack that they ordered. Furthermore, a lot of people have also complained about the models being damaged further down the life cycle of the model due to so-called resin traps, where a portion of resin is trapped within the model during the 3D printing process, which is how Trench Crusade creates their models, causing the model to crack due to the buildup of gases inside of it many months after the model has actually been produced. Now, of course, right? Problems in a Kickstarter campaign are almost expected. In many cases, these are companies who don't really have the experience necessary to do this, and Kickstarter is supposed to be like a gentler entry point into all of this. But with a $3 million campaign, you'd expect that Trench Crusade would all have all the manpower and resources required to deal with any and all of these problems, especially as these were problems that were known well before the Kickstarter campaign actually ended. Here is a post from 7 months ago. It is evident that none of at least the 7-headed serpent STLs were test printed. I've been resin 3D printing for 5 years now, and I have seen and dealt with everything. None of this experience would help me print the Desecrated Saint without something breaking off. So, lots of complaints about the qualities of the prints. Now, I do not know a whole lot about STL printing. We use STLs at the family company, but we simply use them to create the mechanical parts that we worked out years and years ago, so there's very little tweaking involved. However, my good friend Yanovich, who told me about this to begin with, he's been doing quite a lot of this, and he's written this here. I've been going over the Trench Crusade STL files, and they're a big mess. The pre-supported files have tons of unsupported islands, and many of the models have resin traps. This is a big red flag. The fact that the models were even published like that shows a severe lack of professionalism. Developers have been made aware of this and have stated they have fixed some models, but even the alleged fixed models still show the same issue. The resin traps in particular are a huge problem because it can crack your model even months after being printed. And he's also shown the actual resin traps in the supposed fixed models. So, why is this important then? Well, I've made a big video and a big song and dance around my supposition, my feeling, my to be fair, fairly well-founded theory by now, I think, that the developers behind Trench Crusade don't really give a shit about any of this. They don't really care about building their world, building the lore, creating a good game, etc. I generally do not think they're interested in any of that. I think they saw some cool art, thought to themselves, okay, we could slap a game on that, and we'll see if anybody's interested. Turns out, a lot of people were very interested. And after that, the developers have time and time again elected to prioritize their own ideological nonsense over that of the consumers. And these kinds of people, the entire style of the setting, the delivery, the writing of the lore, the characters themselves, all of it stinks of something thrown together, something half-assed to me. And this seems to now be borne out yet again with the actual Kickstarter and the inability to deliver them. As far as I have understood now, from having looked around on the Reddits and their Discord, this is something like the 3rd or 4th major delay to the rollout and the delivery of the models, which should have begun something like 5 months ago now, and there are still errors. And even the errors that have been pointed out, again, 7 months ago, not only persist, but even after they have supposedly been fixed, the errors are still there. The fundamental issue there being, of course, that you can't fix something if you don't want to fix it, if you don't care to fix it. If you have no particular investment in this, you're not going to really be doing your best job now here, are you? You're not going to be test printing, you're not going to double check, and you're not going to carry out extensive checks on the models, which very much so seems like exactly what's happened here. Now, to be fair, and I think Yanovich has mentioned this as well, it is entirely possible that the Trench Crusade crew simply just, kind of wrote off the entire idea of creating the STLs themselves and farmed it out to a third-party company and asked them to do all of it, in which case the error lies largely on the third-party company. Universally, in fact. But even then, you'd think that the developers, if they again gave a shit about the product, would insist on making sure everything was okay. Testing it, making sure, double-checking, etc., especially for a $3 million campaign. They've got the time, they've got the resources, they've got the manpower, and I will say this, though. They have been quite good, at the very least early on, not so much in the later days and months, but they have been quite good in having people actually respond to the posts. Having looked into it like, okay, here's your order, it seems to be delayed, it'll be shipping soon, etc. More often than not, these "it'll be shipping soon" usually then has a further comment further down the line going, I still haven't gotten anything, when is it actually arriving? Or simply being given the standard answer that, oh, something is missing from your order? Well, simply contact the vendor, the people making it for us, which, on the one hand, that's kind of all you can really do in these scenarios, but it yet again comes across as one of those, how do I put it? Rejection of responsibilities, almost, where they go, well, it's not really our problem, it's not our concern, just go to the maker and ask them to send you more bits. Okay, but if the models are fundamentally problematic, they have errors, they have issues that make them crack or make them unsuitable for printing, that just means that the producer will then print out another model, you get it in your hand for another 3 weeks later waiting for it, and then it too has the exact same problem as the previous model, as they continue to print it based on the erroneous models ad infinitum until eventually, I presume, the people simply just stop asking for replacements. Not a great way of doing things, as what you'd want to do in cases like these. Now, the family firm is on a little bit larger basis when it comes to mass production, but what we tend to do is we have always a stock of reserve parts ready on display that we can go, okay, there's a problem with that one, alright, that's too bad, we'll send a replacement, and the replacement is already done, because we already know that these have been quality tested, and they're to be sent out in the case of an item being screwed up, whether it be in transport, or due to some error somewhere along the creation line, which again, absolutely does happen. But if there are fundamental flaws in your creation of the item, well, it doesn't even really matter how many replacements you have on store, does it? Because they've all been created from the same erroneous template. And again, most creators, I would simply give the benefit of the doubt here, because it's Kickstarter, first big campaign, $3 million, a bit overwhelmed, like, oh my god, okay, and you're having trouble delivering. Alright, happens, absolutely does, but this is a company that I firmly believe, and I believe I have demonstrated as well, have a lack of intent, of intentionality behind the creation of their setting, of their game. I don't think they really care. I believe them to be exploitative, and I believe them to be selling, in essence, a grimdark lie here. They're appealing to what you want by largely making you draw it out in your own mind first, as I went over at length in my video on this topic. And so, to see yet further evidence of a lack of care, of a lack of quality control, and a lack of interest taken in the product that earned them $3 million, reinforces again my belief that these aren't really all that serious or professional people, which makes me want to reiterate my warning against them. Trench Crusade doesn't care about the customer. They don't care about the consumer. They're not making this setting because they have a genuine passion or interest for it. They're making it because it's a product, because it earns them money. They have yet to demonstrate any genuine interest in it beyond, well, usually when they bring up their ideology talking about it. Hell, the Adepticon appearance, which I brought up in my video talking about this very topic, it started not with Trench Crusade, it started with, oh hey, we were attacked by a bunch of people who thought that we were making a pro-Christian setting when we weren't. We were making an avowedly LGBT setting, as they have now again committed to on their Discord and so on and so on. It does not even bear further reiteration or repetition, frankly. And yeah, if that's what their primary intent is, if that's what they start with, if that is what they believe is the main thrust of their setting, are you really surprised that they didn't bother double-checking their models? Are you really surprised they're not bothering dealing with the fundamental flaws in their production here? I'm not. I view this as yet again just more evidence that the Trench Crusade developers should not be trusted. But maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill here. It's entirely possible. It's a data point. It seems to be quite compatible with my theory, so I figured I'd let everybody know. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.